Welcome, all you Sheenhand Knights, to a brand new episode.
Hey, Barbie.
Hey, Barbie.
Sheehan reads Liefeld. I love it.
Hope you checked out the Richard Citrone Stunt Batman video, where he tells Scotty and I about the famous BBS warehouse fight. And can you believe the guy was 54 years old when he did it? I couldn't believe it. Scott's 55. He couldn't beat up people in a warehouse.
Hey, Barbie.
Hey, Barbie.
That was fun.
But we have a very special episode. I'm going to pop this bad boy open. We're introducing a new member of Team Sheehan. It is the one, the only, Darth Pillow. And of course, if you go to Organic Price Books, organicpricebooks.com, and you put in the coupon code Sheehan is Dead, you save yourself $2 off of the book. And you're going to see on Organic Price Books, they have a lot of the hottest new releases and omnibuses, deluxe editions, absolutes. And you're going to save yourself like 30, 40, 50, $60 off the cover price.
Absolutely.
And once you go over $50, you get free shipping, free media mail shipping.
Nice.
I mean, you can't beat it. So organicpricebooks.com, coupon code Sheehan is Dead. Save yourself $2. You accumulate points for every dollar you spend too. And I think once you get to like, I don't know, 600 points or something, you start getting like $5, $10 coupons. You go above that, you can do a $20 coupon, a $10 coupon. Organic Price Books is where it's at.
Good people. And they ship like mad crazy their packaging. You know, you could
Mm-hmm.
live in their packaging after you take
Yes.
the box out. And the boxes are special. They're special fit to just fit.
And JP and the boys and David, they're so kind. They put in there notice to the postal inspector. So if that annoying, nasty postal inspector opens your box because he wants to see if it's some sort of crack cocaine.
Actually, really media mail, right?
It's really media mail with whatever superhero books you bought. And there's a nice letter to the inspector. Come on, Barbie, let's go party. Hey, Barbie.
One
Hey,
of the
Barbie.
problems that she has is,
He says
you know,
he's logging in now. So
you know how her feet are like always permanent. The doll's feet are always permanently like in high heels. You know,
Yes.
it's the doll. And so they spoof on that, and bad things are starting to happen. All of a sudden, her feet go flat like the rest of us. And all of her Barbie friends, she's trying not to show them at the beach, and then they see them and they all start like dry heaving.
I'm definitely going to check that out.
So ridiculous.
Do you remember who made that movie? Like what studio? Was it Warner?
It's Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers
Warner
needed
Brothers?
this so they could write off and pay for the loss on Flash.
Yeah. You know what? With the $1 billion they got from Barbie, it probably makes up for Shazam and the Flash.
There you go.
Did
They do Black Adam too?
You know what? Black Adam is a smash hit compared to those two.
Yeah. Well, did it make its money back at least?
It made its money back. They like just about broke even, according to The Rock.
Squeak through.
Whereas like Warner Brothers now they can afford a sandwich. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just
Like-
one for the CEO.
Yeah, just one sandwich, because between the Flash, Shazam, and then Black Adam,
It was tight.
my mom's in the other room watching episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Why would she do that?
I know. Because last night when I came home from the barbecue to fall asleep, I just put it on. And so
Okay.
she's like, "What? I like Star Wars." But she has no idea like what episode it is, right? So she's like, well, when I came in here, she's like, "Put a movie on for me. I want to see Star Wars." I'm like, "So which one do you want to see? Like, you want to start at New Hope or do you want to do one?"
Well, I mean, it's got Natalie Portman in it, and they walk
It's so
they
weird.
walk
You can
across
find-
the desert and she
Mhm.
has like a silver ship. That's probably cool.
Yeah, and be like, "Listen, we're not going to hire you to act. We just want you to talk monotone and say, 'No, Chancellor, that is not from my people.'" And
I
just
really
put-
feel like that's not her fault. I feel
No,
like
not at
that's
all. It's
totally
George. It's
Lucas.
George.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, "That's how I want you to act." And then we're going to put a little lipstick here and there, and then your face is just going to be white.
One of my favorite scenes is, I think, in Clones when they put him in the Coliseum.
Oh,
Is that-
yes, that is cool. That's
and
cool.
she's like breaking herself loose with lock picks or whatever in the Federation or whatever they're called, and she can't do that. Shoot her or something. I just thought that was, all the Ewan and is like useless. He's just not doing anything, and she's breaking loose, and that was fun.
Boy,
I do like Attack of the Clones. There's some stuff that's really horrible about it, but there's a lot of things that are fun about it. I think there's a lot less fun in Phantom Menace.
most certainly.
Yeah.
One of the most annoying part to me in episode 2 is when he's like, I killed them. I hate them. About the sand people. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, that's
Yeah.
just way too emo.
Yeah, no, the acting is really bad, and I don't even get me started. We could do a whole episode of.
Who knew Darth Vader was a whiny little girl?
I know that just doesn't fit. It just
Right.
doesn't fit. The other thing that I hate in episode 1 is, I believe it's episode 1, is when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are in that foolish submarine and trying to go through the middle of the world, and they get attacked by that giant fish, and Qui-Gon dude there, what's his face, who went on to tremendous success later
Ray
on.
Shuggle.
Well, but the actor's name, what's his real name?
Ray Shuggle.
No,
He's just Liam Neeson is forever Ray Shuggle to me.
Yeah, yeah. And he's like, not, there were like 12 million feet below sea level, and this thing is eating their ship, and he's just like burp, 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 not worried at all. I guess
Well,
that
what
was supposed
about
to be
wait a minute,
vibing Jedi.
What about before that, when they just go into the water and they're swimming in like these giant robes and the clothes are just going like this back and forth in the water?
When they did the
I'm like, you
rebreather?
drown. Yeah, I'm like, you
Yeah.
drown yourself in that,
Yeah.
wearing that stuff.
I got a really cool Joker book at Ollie's today.
You
I'm
heard it at Ollie's?
I before I went to the gym, I'm like, I haven't gone to Ollie's in several weeks. I'm gonna peek in there and just see. And so I got a nice hardcover I'm gonna share.
Well, speaking of Ollie's, it makes me think. So last night, right, this guy hits me up on eBay and he's like, I'm really interested in the Nightwing omnibus. Can you come down at all? And I was like, well, make me an offer. So I was like, you know what? Better yet, I'll just send you an offer. So I sent him an offer because the lowest I was going to go down was 245. So I send him 245. He's like, he emails me a few minutes later, like 10, 15 minutes later. Well, another seller just offered me 225. Can you match that? So
And you said again, your lowest number that you wanted was what?
was 245, right?
Okay.
So again, this is the book that I paid like 50 something dollars for. So anything is really a win. However, there is a principle.
Yeah, sure.
So this guy says to me, oh, another seller offered me 225. And I was like, okay, well,
I kind of feel like prove it.
that's better. Right. So I looked through and I'm looking at them, and a couple of them were pre-owned. So maybe one of them came down to 225, but mine is brand new. And I said, all right, I'll tell you what, I'll match 225. My book's brand new. Pay me, send me the offer. I'll accept it. So then I look at my email and the guy's like, is it possible you can go down to 200? And I shot it back. I said, okay.
Absolutely not.
I said, I came down $35 from my original price. I said, I'm not going down anymore because it's more than fair. And
Right. Well, so no loss. Someone else.
Right. It's like, come on, man. And then you're going to ask me to go down to 180 or 190. And it's like, stop. I'm not an idiot.
Yeah.
So,
and at least you also knew not to make an offer.
right.
Let him make the offer, because then you can decide to take it or not.
I'd tell him, stop this nonsense.
Stop this nonsense. You're the most powerful one.
Tell us about yourself.
I started reading, so I had to kind of sneak them a little bit. So I had some people at lunch that would in elementary school that would bring them over, and I would read them during lunch. Kind of speed eat and then read.
You didn't have the Kiss super special that was printed with their blood.
No, no. That definitely would have gotten my butt whooped.
Yeah, I get it.
Um, but so that's how it
Scott.
started.
Well, wait a minute. Scott got that comic when he was a kid, and he licked the cover. But
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I bought it at the liquor store.
Yeah. I fell in love with it through like the animated series, the X-Men and the Spider-Man in the 90s. The Batman series is what really got me. It just I remember it was at pretty much the same time that I saw Star Wars for the first time.
Hmm.
It was like 35 degrees in Florida.
Hmm.
It was so we were all like in parkas and stuff, and I'm sitting there waiting for the bus, and the anime and the music for the show comes on, and I'm like, what is that? I'm like, 5 years old. I'm like, what is that? And you know, it I was my mom was like dragging me out of the out of the house to get to the bus. That was the thing that started it for me. It was just the way it was the way it was animated, the voice. Like Kevin Conroy will always be my Batman. I'm more of a story guy, so that was the beginning of my love for this kind of stuff. And then, of course, with the MCU, I know a lot of people don't like that now, but I am a big MCU guy.
Well, they came on strong and they did well for a really
Yeah,
long time. The last few years have been not
bad,
as good.
terrible,
Yeah.
gross,
yeah,
disgusting.
Still not as bad as DCU.
It's true.
yeah. I
Yeah,
don't know.
sadly.
Like, well, it's like Man of Steel. I do really love Man of Steel, the first one, and then they just didn't. They tried to do things that they tried to do the opposite of Marvel, which meant that instead of doing individual movies, their individual movies, they did the next thing they did with a team movie. I think they did Justice League out right after that, right?
No, it's Batman versus Superman.
Oh, well, it's still kind of a team movie though. That's a movie
Because you have
that's like
multiple characters, in other
it
words.
was multiple characters. You started too hard too fast. You needed to have individual characters come out before you did and
You
all that
also need
stuff.
to make good movies.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
important.
true. Thanks.
That's
And
can't forget that.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
Okay, so you had some. What did you find out about like the latest announcements with
So
DC?
from what I understand, um, the Gal Gadot stuff where she said she's coming back, but it turns out that she's not. I found out that the studio, the way that it happened, where the old studio and James Gunn that split. James Gunn took over kind of suddenly from who owns it? Was it Jim Lee that we said that owned who he owns the comics one?
He's the editor for comics, I
He's
think.
the editor for
Or
comics for that,
editor
but
in
the
chief.
guy that runs like Warner Brothers, the guy that's like the big honcho at Warner Brothers,
Zaslav.
Zaslav. That's what. Thank you.
Zaslav is my superhero. Well, he used
Yeah,
to
he got rid of the old regime kind of suddenly and put James Gunn and the other guy, because it's a team. It's James Gunn, who is the creative uh, CEO, and then you have the other guy who's the sort of business guy,
Yeah,
and
Peter
he's the one
Safran.
that Safran, exactly. He was in charge. He put them in charge kind of suddenly. Those people didn't like him, so they didn't tell him all of the things that they told the other actors, and those actors have just been in the wings, not knowing what they're talking about. Like the only person James Gunn himself has talked to is Momoa,
Mm.
because Momoa, when he signed on initially to do DC, he signed on to do a Lobo movie, and they made him Aquaman. Um, the which is probably going to happen with the
Would Lobo
Superman.
have been cool if that had happened,
But with Jason Momoa, yes.
Brian? What are your thoughts?
After
I think so.
Deadpool, it would have had a better shot. Before that, no way. In the 90s, when everything was like, yeah, when everything was Rob Liefeld heavy, they would have definitely rocked Lobo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what they want to do now is they want to have Lobo and Superman kind of be a thing, and then work on Lex Luthor. Momoa is the only one that uh is confirmed to be in the MCU, but he's going to be a completely different character to the
Don't you
point
say
where
MCU.
I
You
think
said
he's got
MCU.
like, huh?
You said MCU. Careful.
Oop, DC.
MCU.
Who,
Yeah.
who did you say is been officially selected as Superman? Did they nail? They dial that
David
in?
Corn Sweat.
Yeah, is it David Cornsweet?
Yeah.
Yeah, David
that-
Cornsweet, and the woman from Marvelous Miss Maisel is going to be Lois.
What do you think, guys? You DC guys. What do you think?
I don't know anything about the guy who's playing Superman. I've seen her in a couple of episodes of that show. She's very entertaining. She works well in the era because it's kind of an older era. It's like a 1940s ish
Oh yeah.
era.
Okay.
I think she would pass very well if they were going to do a 70s like an updated version of the 70s movie. I think she would do very, very well.
Yeah, she could be what do you call Margot Kidder's like niece.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool then.
Yeah. I'm buying that. And Corn Sweat is in his early 30s.
Mhm.
Henry Cavill's 39. I think he turns 40 this
thought-
year, but he still
Oh,
looks
he
young.
was. Oh, so the people who I was listening to earlier were kind of aging him up a little bit.
He's 39.
Yeah, I liked Cavill, but I agree with the fact that if you're gonna make a break, you should make a hard break. You know,
Yeah.
I think the only reason why they want Momoa to still come back is they're probably gonna put a bunch of makeup and stuff on him, and he's like not gonna be recognizable. I don't think. With Lobo.
I was I think it was K-Fab, Brian, and they were looking at a Liefeld book and they're going through it, and he's like, I know a lot of people. It was Piscor, and he's like, people compare him to Michael Bay. He's like,
yeah, exactly.
But he's like, but the problem with that is he says Michael Bay's movies actually make sense. He said
Wow.
he said Liefeld's more like a Canon film. Remember that house that was Canon Films that was back in the 80s, and it was always like super low budget stuff. And he's like, yeah, they'd always be filming in a nondescript like desert location that was just somewhere out of the way where they didn't have to pay to use it, and they also weren't going to get hassled by like the wildlife inspector or something, But it was like, yeah, he said, no, can't actually Michael Bay's movies make sense, but
Well, I'm surprised Rob still came on the show and didn't like go through their back catalog and like, gonna block them? Am I gonna block them? Am I gonna block them?
So I think this is a great time for this.
Okay.
I had a John Byrne thing queued up, but I think
John
where
Byrne.
the conversation has gone, I think this is great.
John Byrne.
So I'm going to switch my camera over here. Bear with me a second.
Oh,
Ooh.
Okay. So can you see that? Okay, not too much.
yes,
light.
crystal clear.
That
So this is
Deadpool
new-
and
Yeah, we got Deadpool and Cable. So what we have here is New Mutants number 98, and this is the first appearance of Deadpool. Okay, and this is all on the same page. All right. Now, so if we look at this, which arm? And I realize it's a little tough to see. So the bionic arm is the left arm, which is what it's supposed to be.
Yes.
right.
Okay. All right. We just go down one cell
Wow.
and look where the
Whoops.
bionic arm is.
It's
It's on the
right
right.
side.
It's not even like the page change
Wow.
within one
Probably held to
cell.
somebody like Piscor or something.
He
and have them
forgot.
ask
Yeah,
him,
they called that out. And it was just like,
you guys.
oh my goodness. I didn't even realize it was that blatant, because when I was watching the YouTube video, I thought it was like, oh, well, he went from one page to another, but yet it was like right next to each other. New Mutants 98 would have been like what, 19?
Probably like 93.
No, earlier than that. This would have been probably
91. 91?
or earlier even because he went to Image by 91. So this is
Okay,
probably
that looks like 80s art to me.
88 or 89.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is very early. You know, he came on to New Mutants in the issues in the 80s, 86 or 7. And now we're in the 90s. And then he closed that magazine down with 100 and switched it over to X-Force. So, but anyway,
Guys,
that
I was doing Hawk and Dove, and I made Dawn Granger in 1987. Right? Then wasn't like 1987 he got hired, he said?
yeah. Yeah, I think it was. He
By
went to,
DC.
yeah.
And then after Mike Carlin like humiliated him on the telephone, he switched. He went to Marvel. And hey, Scott, just because I messed up the arms, I still sold like 6 billion of those.
Yeah, so Piscor and the Ed, whatever his last name is, they're just great. You know,
Ed Piscor.
Have you watched those ones, Brian, where they just take a magazine, like,
certainly,
and they just sit there and break down every page,
and
like what they like and don't like,
and they'll even like flip back and be like, "Look at that background, man," or "Look at that ink, man. He must have used like the ink."
Oh, this is great. Here's another one I gotta show you. This is great. Same book. So they capture Deadpool. So this is toward the end, and we've got Deadpool tied up. Domino, yes. We've got Domino. And so they're commenting because they're both him and his partner are cartoonists too. And they're like, what's with the difference in sizes? Because there's nothing shown that they're standing on anything. They're just all supposedly standing on a clean, floor, flat.
There's
floor.
no feet in that picture either.
And yeah, right. And they're like, Domino must be standing on a table or something.
Or she's just tall lady.
It was just funny. Like Domino standing on a table behind Domino.
Who are the characters in the middle?
I don't even know. I'm not like, of course that's Cable, that's Domino,
and Deadpool.
Boom Boom, maybe. Is that Boom Boom, Brian? Or
I have no idea.
It looks like what's the X-Men?
Is that Sunspot? Is that
Sunspot?
That
looks like Sunspot.
And I don't know who that is. And Boom Boom or whatever. I mean, but anyway, it was just like Domino standing on a table. So funny. So funny. Good stuff.
Wow.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're showing me that one.
So this is the one that has the
I got the receipts.
The huge John Byrne.
Scott's got the receipts. There
interview in it. It's like 20 pages.
Dude,
long.
Scott, you should cosplay John Byrne when we go to New York Comic Con.
I thought I was going to be or
you could be not Rob Liefeld, and we'll get a table.
Yeah, but look at like here's an ad for the Chicago Comic Con back then. It was just like so simple.
I wasn't even born yet.
There's see if I can find it. There's an ad for the San Diego Comic Con, and it's like hand drawn in black and white, and it's just got a list. I mean, it's like super basic. Where was it? And I was like,
dude, those pages are in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
I had to pay like almost $50 for this thing.
Man, Alien, Superman. That's cool.
I thought it was right around. Look at plastic bags.
You guys.
Yeah.
It's got the receipts.
Anyway, I don't know. It was just really like how things have changed in 40 years with the cons.
Yeah, because San Diego was tiny back then, right?
Well, comparatively.
Yes.
Comparatively.
It was like in didn't Rob say it was in like a hotel or something?
It was in like the Civic Center, I think he said. Maybe it was up front here. Let's see. Oh,
back when he went, he talked.
This was the big deal when that Daredevil story about angel dust.
Oh yeah, the drug one.
Yeah, the Comic Code rejected it. So that was like an interesting little thing. And then this was interesting too. 7 titles that Marvel is canceling, including Battlestar Galactica, Machine Man, and a bunch of their reprints.
Wow.
So it's just like an interesting snapshot.
I didn't know they did a Battlestar.
Yeah. Here it is. Look at this, dude. This is the ad for the San Diego Comic Con in 1980. I mean, can you believe that?
Wow.
I wonder if there are posters that there are posters like that you could find.
I bet. Well, I imagine they're probably super expensive if they are. But I mean, All right, so that doesn't help you guys to be able to see it, but it helps me. So John Byrne, Kelly Frias, Sternenko,
Duranko,
Shooter,
okay. Shooter.
Len Wein, Jack Kirby, Larry
Wow.
Niven. I mean, it's Chris Claremont, Wally Wood. It was just like so many huge names. July 30th through August 3rd. Auctions, art show, parties
Where is it?
in San Diego.
No. Does it say where?
Convention
Like,
and Performing Arts Center,
huh.
2nd Avenue at C Station downtown.
Huh.
5 great days, July 30th through August 3rd, 1980. And it's almost got like, this is almost like Aerosmith, right?
Yeah.
You know, I just was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. And now I guess it isn't even called San Diego Comic-Con. Now it's what was Robbie saying? Comic-Con International or something?
Well, it's San Diego Comic-Con International.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
That's the
So
real
Dar-
name of DC.
Yes, that's of San Diego. Yes. So Darth, you're gonna have to get on the Rob Liefeld bandwagon, man. You're gonna have to start listening
I am.
to his
I am.
podcast because Scott and I reference it constantly,
Okay.
and his nonsense too. So
Yeah.
Stop this nonsense.
dude,
Look at this thing. This was a gift today.
is that a figurine?
Yeah, a little tiny figurine.
I think
Oh
I
my
had
goodness, I have never seen that before.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it. So I got this as a gift. And the thing that really makes it all the more rich, I know you can't really see it. It's McFarlane.
that. Ooh.
Oh,
It's a McFarlane toy. So
Fun.
got a magazine, and then you got this
Fun.
little
oh,
Rebirth. I
look
think
at
I have the first few issues of that.
look at the details.
yeah, right. This must have been
Oh.
like his low budget. I can't quite his low budget. It's not bad for a little.
So that's almost like a McFarlane comic toy special or something.
Yeah, it's
I think
that was just kind of like this random thing that came in.
That's so cool, man. Thanks for showing.
My
yeah,
space.
that's awesome.
I'll show one more thing, and then I won't dominate. I picked this up today, and this is super cool. Have you seen this, Brian?
Oh,
I am not. Is it like 80 years, right?
Yes,
They
totally.
did one. They did like an 85 for Superman, an 80 for Batman, and like an 80 for Robin.
Oh, let's
wow.
turn that.
But I saw that one. I just didn't pay attention.
So this was cool. So it's got a Dan DiDio intro, which is
Oh. Can we stop real fast? Because Dan DiDio emailed me today. That just reminded me.
yeah,
Listen to this.
yeah, go.
Hey, Brian. I had a tooth pulled last week, and my face has been swollen in the last few days. I have a follow-up dentist appointment next week. Should be okay for Thursday, but don't feel comfortable committing until I talk to the dentist. Thanks.
Okay.
It's
But
not a
it's just
no.
what like you
Yeah,
saying
right. It's not a no.
triggered it.
Not a no.
It's not a no.
That's what I like about these like the writers community is that they're not snobby. They're not like, I'm not coming on my podcast.
No, but you know who Dan DiDio is, right? Darth?
I do know the name. I don't
Right,
know if
so
I know the face.
DiDio used to be the head man in DC, and then he became co-publisher with Jim Lee. And then DC fired him like 3 years ago after like 25, almost 30 years there.
Oh, so that's gonna be an interesting interview.
Yeah, so he's a big
Could be.
fish. He's a big fish.
Yeah, it should be a good one. So this is actually, I got this at Ollie's for $8. So this is at Ollie's right now, and it's super cool. I mean, I'm excited to look at it. You know, it's got Jim Lee, what's his face? I can never remember his name because his name is so weird to me. Where is it? The artist. So you have a chapter out of Hush. There's commentary from Jeff Loeb. Capullo. There's a bunch of Capullo stuff in here. There's early stuff. It's just super fun if you like
That's awesome.
Joker. Yeah. And for $8, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it was sealed and it was wrapped, the whole thing. So I was jazzed. I'm looking
You know, I spent half my life not knowing that Mark Hamill was the Joker.
I don't think I
I-
knew that until I got together with Brian.
Yeah.
I was playing a video game, a Batman video game. I think it was on the GameCube, and I couldn't get past this part, and YouTube was brand new. And so I was like, man, I wonder if there's gonna be something on YouTube that'll help me out on this. I went and looked it up, and right next to the video I'm looking for is a video that says Mark Hamill does Joker impression. So I was like, well, that's cool. I gotta check that out. And the whole time that I click on the video, the whole time he's like talking to the crowds. I think it's at a celebration or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking and he's talking, and the way that he's talking, it's like he's done this before. And I was like, how have I not heard Mark Hamill do a Joker impression? You know? And he does the eulogy speech. He did the where in the animated series where he does Batman's eulogy. I think I'll have to see if I can find it.
That was for the man who killed Batman.
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
was what's his name?
About what
Sidney
year was it?
Debris. That's his name.
Say it again.
What?
Sidney Debris.
Hmm.
Debris.
Sid the Squid. That was his name.
Sid the Squid. That's
Sid
what it
the
was.
Squid.
Yep.
There's a new criminal mastermind. They're calling the guy the Squid.
Did the Joker shoot Catwoman?
In the comics.
Yeah.
He's well, most
'Cause
recently
I-
in Tom King's run, he and her are laying together after he shot her. And after he like killed a bunch of people in a church, and they're having like a back and forth, some kind of screwy conversation about Batman together.
Because I was looking in that Joker book as I was just paging through it quickly, and so they're in this, he and the Joker in this, total like battle, and he's trying to rein himself in, and he's thinking about like the Joker hurt Batgirl, and now she's Oracle, and then there was a thing with Robin, I guess, and then it was Catwoman, and like Catwoman, he was like holding Catwoman, and she was like, mortally wounded, and I did not know that. So I mean, because he was like trying to decide, do I want to do away with this guy or not?
Mm.
And I think it was Capullo work. It was more recent. So no bells on that, huh?
No, not off the top of my head.
The last thing I saw of them was the issue where Superman and Lois and Bruce and Selena go on a date. That
Yes.
was
Oh, that
that
was
was a-
awesome.
that
That's
was a
double
funny
date.
issue. Yeah.
Yeah, that's double date. Yeah, that's in volume 4 of that was a good one. And then they
Yeah.
both show up like the elevator opens in the same building, and they're both on like, what are you doing here? What are you doing?
Right.
Here,
And
look.
they get there, they're dressed in normal stuff, but everybody else is dressed up in.
Yeah.
Does this ring a bell at all?
Oh yeah,
No.
that's from Hush.
Yeah. So she's
Oh yeah, bottom left. Yep.
something happened, right? So yeah. So Jim Lee, that's Jim Lee's work, right?
Yes. That was almost like Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo woke up from the dead and drew, and then went back to sleep, and everybody went crazy over it.
I was gonna say, I think that's got to be like the best Jim Lee work I've ever seen.
Well, that was his first work with DC.
Well, he definitely, as Rob would say, he definitely was wanting to make sure he could flex, and that he got to hit their attention.
Wow, flex. Yeah.
Jim Lee was flexing on Hush.
He was flexing. He still has the check. A guy, I forgot who it was. They bet him $100 that he wouldn't be able to do the monthly book with Hush, and he still got the check because he won the bet on his wall. Apparently, he hasn't cashed the check.
That he got every issue out on time.
Yes.
Yeah, is that what you mean? Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Was that a challenge for him?
Oh,
Was
most certainly, because he was known back then as like, Jim Lee's not doing another book, and there's no way. Like he draws too slow because he's got so much detail.
Yeah.
But I think they had I forgot how many issues they were ahead, and they still came down to the wire because he was running out of time, even though they had a few in the can. So
Interesting.
Have you read that one,
What's
Darth?
that? What's
Have
that?
you read Hush?
I read a version of it. I read the one where it's his face in the trench coat. The cover is him. It's I think it was a trade back. It was him in a trench coat, and then it was
Right.
the damaged face.
Yes, yeah.
I read that one, yeah.
All right. Well, there's an omnibus coming out, I think in November or something, and it's Hush and like every other story that's tied into him that
Mhm.
Batman's been a part of, especially with Paul Dini, who wrote some great issues because
Mhm.
Paul Dini, Scott, he was like one of the head writers on the animated series.
So I saw that name fairly often in this Joker book also,
Yes.
and I didn't have
Paul
context
Dini,
for it.
Paul Dini and Bruce Timm, who worked on Batman the animated series, they co-created Harley Quinn.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
and Paul
Forgot about
Dini
that.
of any writer, even Jeff Loeb with like The Long Halloween and Hush and Dark Victory, there's no writer I've seen get Batman like Paul Dini. Like Paul Dini just gets Batman.
Okay.
And he wrote a handful of comics, and the his omnibus sold out pretty quick. Then they reprinted it, and I think maybe even
Speaking of that, I was curious, as you know, I would be this Joker book, this copy that I got was already in the third printing. So apparently it was fairly,
Popular, yeah.
yeah. There's a great, this cover gallery is really fun.
That's cool.
In the back. Coming down through. You got Neil Adams working here, of course,
yeah.
which is fun.
Is that a Paro?
Yes, right here. This one,
Yeah.
yes.
That was my
That's
Batman.
1990.
Yeah, that was my Batman artist growing up. Him and Norm Brayfogle. Then you got Tim Sale right there.
Yep. 1997. And then of course
That's
Alex
Alex
Ross. Yep. And then this is Rogers and Terry Austin. I was looking at, they include an issue with the Terry Austin and Rogers, and you can just so see like how much Terry Austin made John Byrne look like John Byrne, because it almost, you'd think if I just looked at it casually, I was like, oh, that's John Byrne, but it wasn't. It's Austin and someone else. And of course,
Yeah.
this is Ball.
Brian Boland.
That's great.
That issue on the right is some of the creepiest stuff.
Super creepy.
That's
Yeah.
Capullo.
Yeah, Capullo, Mickey.
That's on the cover of one of the story arcs.
One of the trade paperbacks too, I think.
Yeah. So,
Then you got Frank Miller on the left.
Johnson,
Oh, Johnson.
Dave
That is
Johnson.
okay.
Yep. And then this is Connor
Okay.
and Sinclair.
Oh yeah, yeah. Amanda Connor. Yeah.
And then Jim Lee,
Jim Lee. Yeah.
2019, Scott Williams and Sinclair. And then Albuquerque,
Frankenstein. In that one.
Raphael Albuquerque.
Oh yeah, Albuquerque's. Yeah, he's a decent Batman artist. He's okay.
So anyway, it's just like a really fun history thing. So I'm super jazzed. And just to see like really nice art.
Woo!
there you go.
That thing's on fire. You gotta wait.
Yeah.
You gotta use your hand to wave it, man.
Yeah.
So we were talking the other night and I was like, well, I thought that,
Yeah, on the edges there. But the grade or
so I went back and I looked at it, and this doesn't have any color breaks.
uh-huh.
The 9.0 they're very small, but there are like 4 little tiny color breaks on the spine. So that's the
Okay.
difference. That's the difference.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Do you have any graded comics, Darth? Or
I wish. No, I'm starting in next month. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna buy some short boxes and officially start. I think I might start with Nova
oh, cool.
because
Wow,
I
that's an
find
obscure
him kind of interesting.
character.
I think he was
character.
like 1976 he started.
Yeah, I knew him from some of the animated stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They had him and he was pretty interesting. It's kind of funny because he's kind of like the. I'm gonna make people mad when I say this. He's kind of like the Green Lantern, kind of. He's the cop, the space cop. Pretty interesting character. He has very similar to he runs in the same circles as like Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There's if you get a chance, there's a great story, and I just started reading some of the omnibuses, Annihilation. and
Okay.
Annihilation Conquest.
All right.
It was like this super event that Marvel did back, I think, in the mid 2000s.
Okay.
And Richard Rider is the Nova. Like he plays a central part in the whole story. I was like, oh wow, this is actually interesting because I knew nothing about Nova really. So
Yeah.
I remember
Okay.
I remember being a kid in that zone, that time frame was when I was actually going to the newsroom and buying the singles and was doing X-Men and She-Hulk and that kind of stuff at that point, which was on mid to late 70s. And Nova was there. And I don't think I ever bought any Nova because I don't know. It just, for me, I just wasn't, yeah, I didn't really, I don't know. I didn't know enough about it to, have we talked about Hoopla?
I think
Because
you
Yeah.
were
I'm
telling me you were
wondering,
telling the library thing, right?
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
I'm wondering if you might be able to get Nova.
No, you will. You should be able to get. That's a good call, Scott. Thank you. You should be able to get Annihilation Conquest and the Annihilation story on Hoopla, and basically any comic, pretty much almost made known to man up to this point is on there. If you go to Hoop, if you use your library card,
Yes,
and
he's
you can read it
correct.
Okay.
digitally.
I gotta get
Yeah.
I gotta get a library card. I haven't
Yeah,
had a library card since I was 12.
doesn't
Well, go
cost
go to the
anything.
local library, get your card, and then put it on Hoopla, and you can read like everything.
Sweet.
Hoopla, Hoopla.
Yeah, I'm looking at the site now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. And you
Cool.
get movies and other things too. I'm not seeing any of the
Yeah, download
original
it on
Nova.
your iPad.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
seeing later volumes of Nova, but anyway, there's a bunch of Nova stuff. Even if it's not the first volume, if you dig it, you'll probably dig that stuff too. So that's cool. And you get like 21 days to read a book.
Yes.
And I think you get 5 books a month. So and the reader is really good too. I was hoping to show you guys the stuff, the Liefeld stuff from New Mutants. I was hoping it was going to be on Hoopla, and I wanted to show you there because the graphics are, it's really,
Better. It's easier to transfer to.
but they didn't have it there right now. They picked up with Extinction Agenda, and then also just after the issues I needed to show you Cable's magical bionic arm that moves from side to side.
He switches them,
Yeah, when it's convenient, is this going to be a left punch or a right punch?
right? That's the secret is that they're both bionic and one just has skin on it.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. That was one of the other things that the cartoonist K-Fab guys were talking about. They're like, over time, Cable just got to the point where he could do everything. And he can blast from his fingers. But then they're like, look, and they're showing, and there's a scene where, normally he's wearing gloves. And then Liefeld's got a scene where he's like doing lasers from his fingers, but then in the next frame, now he's got his glove back on again. I mean, just like giant inconsistencies.
Yeah.
Oh well, it's good. Life in the late 80s was good.
And I still sold 5 billion copies.
Right.
I'm trying to get all of them.
I know.
There you go.
You're on the fast track. You're probably ahead of everybody in existence at the moment.
Well, at least I could say that. I've got something to feel good
That's right,
about.
man. Be like, you know what? You should say that when we go to Comic-Con. Be like, yeah, we do Sheehan Comics on YouTube, and Scott here, he's the Guinness World Record holder for the most Cable #1s. Like he's got that on lock.
Yeah,
And just say deadpan, like, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. You got any Cable #1s or X-Force #1s? I need those.
Yeah.
I need those.
I need those.
I don't care if you saw it in the garbage. I want it.
Here, I need to share this with you, Brian. I know you'll appreciate this.
Oh,
I found that one. I didn't have that one.
Steel.
Yeah.
and what else is on it?
What?
Try.
Yes, right. So this is 93, number 13.
Oh,
And it has the bonus Man of Steel poster.
Reign of the Superman.
Look,
That
the
was my
funeral
jam.
is over.
So, yes, it is just
Man.
this is when I started like getting heavy into comics, the Reign of the Superman, because I knew Superman died, so I was collecting like all this stuff, everything with the triangle, like I was just all over it.
Yeah. I remember the first shop I had walked into. When did the Death Superman happen?
3.
93. So this would have been about 98. So about a few years after that, and they still had posters of that the Death of
Yeah.
Superman thing on their wall
Mm-hmm.
as they were going. But I do remember this guy from the animated series.
Mm-hmm.
How did you
Uh,
feel about that artwork, Brian? Because this guy's stuff is he's
I thought it
involved.
was Bogdanov. I thought it was like way too scratchy. And he even
Yeah.
has like 1 or 2 issues in the Death of Superman fight where it's just so scratchy.
He's involved in the Extinction Agenda with Jim Lee and Liefeld.
Ugh.
He was doing X Factor, and I felt like he was the weakest of the bunch. I,
Yeah.
I didn't. He did some stuff that was really horrible. I'm not a fan. So Louise Simonson, how do you say his name again?
Bogdanov.
And then
Bogdanov.
who's Janky? Is that the Janke? Is that the inker?
That it must have been the colorist.
Colorist. Okay. So
Yeah,
so
maybe.
that one, and then there was this one.
Oh,
And this one's fun because again, it's got the, woo, the sparkles. So this is
that's
93
like,
31.
dude. And that was right after the one that you have where that was the one that came out right around the same time, or it was the month after that one on there.
With
After the
Lobo.
one, no, the
No, not
one
Lobo.
that you had
Yeah.
there,
So they were close to each other.
that Superman.
Yeah.
It was the one. It was the one right before it. The one that you have it that's in foil, and it says Superman's back for good, better than ever, or something.
Okay.
And it's like a foil like
Right.
that,
I
but
can't
he's
quite
like got
I
his
can't
arms
quite
cocked,
tell.
and you see.
I can't quite tell. Is that his mullet days?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
Yeah, I would say so.
yeah,
Yeah, look at you got a bunch of hair down here.
yeah.
dude. I drew those as a kid, like over and over and over.
Look at how powerful that is.
Right,
Yeah,
Ooh. Who wouldn't want that?
right.
I want it graded.
The only thing that I have of the Superman stuff that's even better than that is the one that I have with him and Lobo fighting in its color forms. That's like the ultimate gimmick.
Bishop.
Yeah.
Dude, this is the one I was talking about, Scott. This one came out, I think, right before that one, and you have this one.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big DC guy, Jonathan. Like Batman and Joker or
Yeah,
DC, that's where I'm at. But the Superman stuff I've just been collecting because they had so many crazy gimmicks that it's just
yeah.
cracks me up. I love it.
Gimmick.
I have trouble reading Superman because my comparison to the Superman is just the 70s movie. That
Yeah.
made such an impact on me as a kid. So I have so much trouble reading. I think the problem is too, I've only read New Superman. Like, I think the New 52 is the only stuff that I've actually read of just Superman. And it's like, you
Mhm,
know,
mhm. I have to
but
say that Brian has had me watch what the Zack Snyder stuff and
Yes.
whatnot, and I enjoyed it.
I did enjoy Ben Affleck as Batman. I thought that was
Yes.
a great thing. I'm a little bummed out that he didn't get his shake on it, a
Yeah,
fair
it's
shake
movie.
on it. But
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
I just
This one's fun because it's relatively early. This is the first
Yeah.
annual, as Omar would say, ejectiveless X-Men,
Yeah.
Jim Lee, and
Yeah.
but then this one's fun. Do you remember
Wow.
who it is, Brian?
Machine Man. No, I don't remember.
Barry Windsor Smith.
Pap.
Oh,
Yeah,
Pap.
Pap or Unpap.
Yeah, unpap. That's a lot of detail.
Yeah. So it's kind of fun. This is a 4-issue limited series, and I've got 3 out of the 4. I think I'm missing 3. And slowly over the course, by the time you get to issue 4, he's completely put together. So
Oh,
each
like
issue, as you move
RoboCop.
through it, it gets more and more built, which
cool.
was kind of a neat
Man, that
So Barry, I like this one just because I think Rogue looks awesome.
Yeah,
that's
that's
a
super
great
90s, bro.
That's a great Magneto one too.
Yeah, it's Ian Churchill.
Yeah,
But I was like,
Magneto
that's
and
just
Rogue.
it's a
really
macho show.
Yeah.
A macho.
that was really, really pretty.
It's a macho comic, dude.
This is another one, same guy. So a cable, which is
boy,
pretty cool.
to meet one's destiny.
He's good.
At least it's the right arm is
He knew which
Um,
one to make
titanium.
bionic.
No.
And then we
Yeah.
can go back to late Liefeld.
Wow.
I had no idea.
I know, right? So yeah. I mean, this is definitely he's more refined. The hair, the face. So and here's early. And I don't know how much
That's
detail
good. That's great stuff.
This is early Liefeld. This was New Mutants annual number 6. So this is 1990, and then this was like 10 to 15 years later. And
Yeah.
like this compared to that,
I know
much,
Tom
much
Cruise.
crisper.
I've been to his house. I've tried to work with him on getting a movie launched.
Did you hear the one? I don't know if it was current or if it was a replay from an earlier one. And he was talking about how Gene Simmons was strong arming him to come over to watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah. He's like, come to my house. And I'm like, no, Gene, I'm not coming to your house.
I have like 20 people coming to my house and I'm doing Super Bowl at my house.
Yeah, there's no way I'm watching the Rams at your house.
Yeah.
And he talked about the little office he had in his trailer or something.
In this giant SUV that he was driving.
Yeah.
He's got a little desk, and this is where I do my business when I'm on the road. So,
Darth, you're gonna get in and you're gonna find out what PAP means eventually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a key word.
that's a Barry Windsor Smith.
Yeah, and Rob talks about it because it was in another magazine interview. PAP.
PAP is stuff that's ungood.
It's
really?
poop.
Yeah.
PAP is poop.
If it's PAP, you don't like it, or you shouldn't.
you
shouldn't like it.
So when you catch up on Liefeld's podcast, the one he had with Barry Windsor Smith, and he's reading, and they ask him, because it's funny, because Rob reads what they say about his artwork, and he's like, "Oh, Liefeld, he's PAP." And he's like, basically, he's saying that my work is poop. So it's great.
Maybe it's poo app.
Poo app.
Oh, wow.
Here it is.
Dude, what do we got?
The Human Target, Volume 1, and the Human Target, Volume 2. They're still in the wrapper because
It looks like cool art.
Is that a
It
Hawkeye
is.
thing?
no, it's Human Target, and it's actually by Tom King and Greg Smallwood. Now, this guy, Greg Smallwood, the artist, it's like he's drawing retro 70s, but in the modern era.
That's
And
cool.
so listen to the premise. This is what I was telling you to check out on Hoopla. The Human Target has 12 days to solve his own murder. Christopher Chance has made a living out of being a human target, a man hired to disguise himself as his client to invite would-be assassins to attempt his murder. He's had a remarkable career until his latest case protecting Lex Luthor when things go sideways. An assassination attempt Chance didn't see coming leaves him vulnerable and trying to solve his own murder. He has 12 days to discover just who in the DC universe hated Luthor enough to want him dead by slow-acting poison. And the prime suspects happen to be the Justice League International. The Human Target is a hard-boiled, gritty story in the vein of classic detective noirs told by best-selling and critically acclaimed creators Tom King and Greg Smallwood. This collects 1 through 6, and then this collects 7 through 12. But I was reading, check this out, Jonathan, when you can on Hoopla. I was reading this on Hoopla one day, and I was like spellbound by the first issue. So cool. And the way it plays out in the first issue, it's like, wow.
So the Justice League International, is that a different team from the original?
Yeah, it was back in the mid 90s, early mid 90s. No, it was the early to mid 90s. and it was like almost like a comedic take from what I've been told. I have the 2 omnibuses, and they're finally after all these years publishing a volume 3 omnibus of Justice League International.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. And another thing that you could possibly invest in is because James Gunn is using some of the characters from the Justice League International, that when the movie comes out, if Superman Legacy happens, it'd be good to speculate on Justice League International #1.
Yeah, I just signed out book 1 on Hoop.
Oh, cool. Yeah, let me know how you like it.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna pop this bad boy open. I'm gonna pop this bad boy open and start reading it. I got 3 Jokers open. I'm reading it, and I'm also reading Absolute Crisis on Infinite Earths. I'm like 26 pages in.
I like the way that they definitely, the artist and or colorist is definitely totally vibing like that
Right.
late 50s, early 60s modern style.
Like I think some of the background in one of them in his hotel or something, it's like wood panels, if I remember correctly. Like
yeah, right. Paneled walls. Yeah. No, but in the way that they color it too, it's kind of like you got some color on the contents, but then they're like doing like just washes of a solid like brown or like a lime green, an orange, definitely like, modern colors. Very cool. Yeah. Oh, like look at this page here. Let me switch back. I think this is fun. So I don't know if you can see it. Let me turn my light up. I don't know if that makes it any better. You kind of, it's tough to see because of the iPad, but it's just like really simple, like in 4 or 5 colors and like lime green. Cool. It kind of is evocative of the kind
that's one of the aesthetic of that is one of the things that like turned me onto it too. Like I said, I felt like I was reading a story that took place in the 70s, but with a modern tale.
Yeah. Very cool. Oh, that should be a fun read. Hopefully the writing is good.
Yeah. At least the first issue was.
All right, cool. Very cool.
And I had no idea who the Human Target was. I didn't even know that was like something until Tom King started writing this book. So.
And it's interesting too. I'm seeing here, I'm just, flicking through really fast. And so after the cover, like the splash open is a pinup girl on a calendar, and they're like checking off the days. So day 1, day 2, that's pretty neat. And now this one's all done in purple. So I think he's even like using themes within each, like in the first one, it was more like lime green was the theme. This one seems like purple and turquoise is the theme.
This is a detective. This is the first appearance of Batman, but it's a facsimile.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, dude.
Still super cool though. So what year did they publish the facsimile?
This is they printed it this year. Okay. This year or last year. But it's made in the same way that the first issue was.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. Very cool.
And then awesome. the first appearance of Robin, I have the first Action Comics too. But this is the one, Robin's first appearance in 1940.
Okay.
Let's see.
Cool.
Fun. Yeah. Nice. Is that a 9/8 too?
Yeah.
So what do Sheehannites do?
They read comics.
Fart in their hat. I think you're going to have a little harder time editing this.
I'm already taking notes.